Hello. I see you, Bob. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. Hi, Mina. Hi, Mina. How are you? Oh, can't hear you. You're muted. Hi, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good, good. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining
Thanks.
us. We'll just wait a few minutes and see who else will join us. Hopefully there'll be a few more people. I'm kind of doing an experiment right now to see if more people join during the week or more people join on the weekend, because it's kind of, we haven't had too many people joining during the week. So I thought, well, we'll try the weekend, but I guess it all depends on what the weather is doing, huh?
I'm in LA, so it's kind of chilly out for me. You know,
Yeah.
I like it to be 70s, in the 70s, but it's not.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
68.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
I'm in Washington State. So
Okay.
it's about 48 degrees and of course very cloudy.
Yep,
You know how it is in Washington, it always rains.
yep.
So yeah, it's but it's nice. It's nice and fresh.
I love the air there. The air quality is awesome. I
Yeah.
used to live in Corvallis, Oregon, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
familiar with the Northwest.
Yeah, Corvallis. I used to live in I lived in Ashland for a while and then in Eugene.
Oh, yeah.
So very,
Oh,
very
that area is beautiful. I was there last summer with my family, you know, going around, but the smoke at that time in August was unbearable, unfortunately.
Yep, and that's why I picked the coast here in Washington. So it's like Port Angeles. It's about it's in the Olympic National Forest,
Mhm.
and I was looking to move out of Colorado last year because of all the smoke, and I thought, wait, I want to go back to the Pacific Northwest, but I don't want to go back to where there's smoke, and in Oregon smoke everywhere all the time. So it's nice here because it's on the coast and you get the breezes, and it rains enough to where hopefully there won't be, you know, too many fires.
It doesn't rain that much though, right? It had decreased from when I was living in the Northwest, right? It's not like raining every day.
No, and where we are, it's considered the banana belt. So it kind of like snows in the mountains, but because the mountains are there, it doesn't rain as much here as it does like in Seattle or Olympia.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. And Bob, where are you from?
I'm in Missoula, Montana,
Oh, okay.
and
I think
it's
I drove.
45 and yep. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think I drove through Missoula on my way to Washington from Colorado when I was moving around that area. Yeah, it's pretty.
We're
Okay,
looking
well,
forward to spring, all right.
pardon?
I said we're looking forward to spring.
Yeah, I think, yeah, everybody is, especially now that the COVID restrictions are being kind of lifted across the country. We just had the mask and the vaccination cards, which we had to show vaccination proof to go to any kind of restaurant or a bar or anything like that. Coffee shop, you go to show proof of vaccination. And they just lifted that on Friday. It's been crazy here. You know, I came from Colorado where nobody even wore a mask. And then, you know, to Washington where it's just, people just frown at you if you're not wearing it at the grocery store, you know, they give you a dirty look. Oh, it's funny. Anyways. Well, cool. Well, Let's it's 5 past and there's just 2 of us, but that's fine. I guess everybody else is out enjoying spring weather somewhere. So, and we'll probably have people join as we go. So I'll just tell you, do you guys use Flower Child products?
I do.
You do? And how long?
I just started about a week.
A week ago?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And how about you, Bob? Do you take any CBD products? Bob? Oh, did he freeze? Okay, well, Bob, can you hear me? No, I think you're frozen. That's okay. Okay, so Mina, so you're taking CBD. What product are you taking?
I should go get the bottle. It's 700. Can I get it?
Sure. CBD. Okay, you got the CBD 700. Cool. Yeah. So that's great.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to start with. I think Bob, we lost him because of the internet connection.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
I love Zooming. It's so convenient to connect from all over the world, and then this happens. Or like if somebody calls, it comes through. Like I'd shut my phone off, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's better than
it's just what it is, right? I mean, look at how far we've come in technology in just a few years. I mean, I never even heard of Zoom until COVID hit.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they're like Skype and things like that, or FaceTime.
Yes.
But Zoom is the best.
It is definitely cool. Jean, hi, I see you've joined us. Good job. How are you?
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We had some other guy was on, and his internet connection was just unstable, so we lost him. But it's good to see you. Nice to have you here. Jean's been with us for a long time.
Yeah, very long, and helped tremendously.
Great.
So but I got messed up with the time change, so that's why I'm a little late. Sorry.
That's probably what's happening with a lot of people because of the time change.
Oh gee. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, this morning I put my watch on and I sat down and I went, what? 8 o'clock? What happened to 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Anyway, good. Okay, well, we'll start here. And so Jean, you've been taking our CBD products for quite a while, right? What do you take?
I use the 700 sleep.
Okay.
And then I just got the tea that I like a lot.
Oh, good.
And then sometimes, I've tried different CBGs in the morning. I don't know, the person that benefits the most in my life have been both of my dogs. That's how I met you, actually. Is that my lab had cancer, and that helped her through her last 6 months. And I have a shelter dog now who is terrified of storms and fireworks. And so the CBD for large animals helps Duncan survive all of that. In fact, he got a little bit last night because things are kind of rowdy around here. So the sleep's the best sleep I've ever had in my whole life. Thank you.
Great. Good.
And I started taking that when I had shoulder surgery, and I didn't want to use opioids, and never needed it. It's been wonderful, and I recommend it to everybody. So
good. Thank you, Jean. You're an ambassador for Flower Child. Thanks so much.
I forgot 2 more things that I use not very often. I keep the salve around, and I keep the roll-on around.
Okay.
So if I play golf and I I'm a little tense or I
Stiff.
worked out too much
Yeah.
or the back of my heels hurt from walking 10 miles or something, you can use that roll on. It's got a nice icy feel to it and it takes all the pain away. It's terrific. The salve, sometimes I use at night if I have like a little prick here or something, you know, from not swinging my club correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep those handy all the time.
Sweet, great.
That's the end of my commercial.
Great. Bob, do you use any of the CBD products?
Excuse me, I did.
Bob? You do?
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
do. Sorry, I had to switch computers. My other one died on me.
Oh, I thought maybe it was your internet connection.
Yeah, no, it was my other laptop was just too old or whatever. Yeah, I
Okay.
used I bought some of the CBG flour, and I've been mixing that with the CBD flour,
Mhm.
and I really like it.
Oh, good. That's great. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that
Get into the CBD and CBD CBG tinctures from you folks, because my youngest daughter suffers or has epileptic seizures, so
Mhm.
we are using the tincture quite a bit.
Did it help a lot?
It seemed to help her with anxiety.
Okay.
And especially she was using, I'm pretty sure it was stuff from your company, but I know she was using some CBD, like a vape pen, CBD vape pen.
Yeah.
So it would give her, like, when she was at work and she started feeling a little stressed out or whatever, she would just step off to the side and hit the vape pen and it would help her calm down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we cannot sell vape pens because the postal service refuses to ship them because they're afraid that they're going to explode or whatever the case may be. But we're no longer allowed to sell those.
Yeah.
It's been quite an adventurous 8 years, I can tell you. Okay, well, it's just the three of you guys, the four of us. So I will tell you a little bit about me and Flower Child, and then we'll get into the root of our conversation about depression and THC, CBD, CBG, and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of my little spiel, you guys can ask whatever questions you want. So if a question comes up while I'm talking, just write it down or something, try to remember it, and then we can address those questions at the end, because that just works better. I don't lose my flow. So, you know, so Flower Child, if you guys don't know, we started out in Oregon, in the Medford area about 8 years ago. And that was before hemp was legal and before the recreation program was legal. And so I moved to Oregon from New Mexico and started basically growing high CBD strains. And this was before anybody even knew what CBD was, really. It was just starting to get popular. But I had heard from a friend of mine how this amazing, and I wasn't a pot connoisseur at all. I didn't know anything about marijuana, cannabis, nothing. And this guy was telling me, he was a grower, he was telling me about CBD and how this kid had come in, and this kid was about 14 and he had a stuttering problem. He had been stuttering his whole life, and he took one hit of CBD, a CBD doobie, whatever you'd want to call them, and his stuttering stopped completely. It was just gone, and he was able to speak. And I was just like, wow. And then he was telling me about this woman, this older lady who had terrible arthritis in her hands, and she could barely open her hands. And she had a couple of hits of CBD, and she was able to open up her hands. And I was like, that's it. I got to find some seeds. And I love to grow things. And so when I got to Oregon, the first thing I did was I found online some CBD seeds, and I started growing CBD plants. And the CBD that we got out of now this was, 8 years ago, it was still very high in THC. So it was like a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 parts CBD to 1 part THC. So there was still a lot of THC in there. But we started selling these things to dispensaries in Oregon. And that's how we kind of got started. I started experimenting with making different tinctures and salves and things like this with the plants that I had grown. And we started selling this to the dispensaries. And I had no idea of what it was going to do. You know, when I first got to Oregon, I thought the whole medical marijuana program was just an excuse to get high legally. Basically, that was it, right? I was like, I didn't know anything about cannabis. Well, we started getting feedback from the dispensaries, from their customers. People were just saying that, oh, this has helped so much. I had a frozen shoulder. I started taking the tincture. My shoulder started working again. They were giving it to their pets, and we were hearing that these pets that were almost half dead came back to life again. I mean, just amazing testimonials. And I was like, wow, maybe there is something to this whole cannabis thing. And I really started diving into it from then on. And when we were in Oregon, we were in about 100 different dispensaries up until the OLCC, which is the Liquor Control Commission, kicked out all the hemp manufacturers at the end of 2017 in a week. They basically said, you know, unless you want to buy a license to sell in the dispensaries or the rec stores, you're out. And that's because hemp is an agricultural product, and you can't tax it, and they wanted to tax it. So that was a whole other thing. So we weren't very happy with Oregon and decided to move to Colorado. Spent 3 years in Colorado, you know, selling online and stuff like that. And then last August, I decided I was done with the dryness, with the smoke, with Colorado, and I wanted to move back to the Pacific Northwest. And that's how we ended up in Washington. So we've only been here for just less than 8 months. But so that's kind of the Flower Child journey. And it's been a hell of a adventure, let's just say that, between the OLCC kicking us out of all the dispensaries in a week, then trying to sell online and having the credit card processors shut us down because CBD is still classified as a Schedule I drug, believe it or not. Bank accounts shutting us down. I mean, it's been quite a roll. And then eventually we got Square as our credit card processor, and then COVID hit. And so it's been quite an enlightening experience, but we persevered, and we're still at it. And so, yeah, so that's this Flower Child story in a nutshell. So basically, and if you're wondering where I'm from, I'm actually from Africa. I was born and raised in Africa, in Southern Africa. But I came to the United States 30 odd years ago. And so I consider myself an African American. There you go. I'm sure you've heard that one before. So let's talk a little bit about depression, because we have had people comment that they feel that the CBD could be making them depressed. And for me, I can tell you now that the CBD that we have does make me depressed. And that is why I'm kind of listening to what people are saying, because some people take it for depression. Some people say it causes depression. And it all really depends on the chemistry of the person. My sister, for instance, she can't go a day without taking her CBD, otherwise she falls into a deep, dark depression. Me, if I take it, I fall into a deep, dark depression. So some of the things that cause depression, alcohol, we know for a fact that alcohol is a huge depressant. It's a huge depressant. And the reason for that is it's a poison, right? We're putting a poison in our body, and we wake up the next day after putting a lot of poison in our body. We wake up the next day feeling fatigued, exhausted, headache, feeling nauseous, all the things that go along, dehydrated with drinking too much alcohol. And people don't realize that, yes, alcohol causes dehydration, but so does cannabis. But it's because you're putting ethyl alcohol basically into your body, right? You're putting ethyl alcohol into your body and you're poisoning yourself. So that is why alcohol gives you such a hangover the next day if you drink too much. And continual use of alcohol in this way, I mean, there's no other way to go but feeling really bad. I mean, if you're drinking every night to the point of passing out, the next day you're going to feel bad. And I can tell you this because I had to quit drinking cold turkey because it was just affecting me in that way. I've drank pretty much my whole adult life. I never got into cannabis. I was more of a drinker. And I grew up in a family where my dad was a drinker. He partied, and that's the kind of the lifestyle that I grew up with. And so as I got older, it just wasn't working for me anymore. I mean, I could, when in my youth, yeah, I could party with the rest of them. But as I got older, I found that I just couldn't handle alcohol like I used to. The sugar, for one thing. I mean, I would drink wine. Wine is just pure sugar. And sugar is really, really bad for us. It spikes our insulin. And that's another part of why you feel bad the next day is all the sugar that you drank. So I just said, you know what, I can't do this. I can't do this alcohol thing. I was just waking up every day feeling bad about myself, feeling fatigued, feeling exhausted. It was just awful. So I decided, that's it, I got to quit. So I quit drinking. And then comes the, oh geez, I can't sleep at night because I'm laying here thinking. I don't have that alcohol to kind of knock me out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try THC, right? I mean, I'm in the cannabis business. I grow THC plants because we have a high THC extract that we provide to cancer patients. So I got the THC, made myself some caramels, and I was taking them at night to sleep. So I take caramel an hour before I go to sleep. And oh yeah, I slept great. But 5 days into it, I wake up feeling a little bad. 6 days into it, I'm in such a state of depression that I just couldn't believe it. And I knew it was the cannabis because I'd never felt that bad, that depressed. And I'm talking suicidally depressed. I'd never felt that in my life. And so I knew it was the marijuana, the edibles. So there was that. Okay, now I got to get off that because that's not working for me. Now with marijuana, with cannabis, and this includes CBD, it stays in your system for a long time, right? It stays in, not like alcohol. Within 24 hours, alcohol is more or less out of your bloodstream and you're all right. With cannabis can stay in your bloodstream for 30 to 40 days. And this is why when people go for drug tests, for work, stuff like that, they go for drug tests, and 2 weeks after they maybe smoked a joint or did an edible, it's still showing up in their bloodstream. So for people who are getting drug tests, they need to wait 30 to 40 days, like 6 weeks out after they smoked a joint or did an edible. They have to wait 6 weeks before they can get drug tested, because it stays in the system that long. So for me, it took me about 5 to 7 days to get that THC out of my system. Drinking lots of water, exercising, trying to sweat it out. But it took about 5 days before I started feeling normal again, getting my, my dopamine levels back to normal. So that's the THC. So I'm very sensitive to THC. And there's a lot of people out there who are sensitive to THC. So let's see, where else was I going to go with this? So people who smoke THC on a regular basis or do edibles on a regular basis, and I'm talking like every day, and you get these guys, these gals that will wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is they smoke a joint, and that's how it progresses all day long. They're smoking every couple of hours to get that feeling of normalcy. And the reason is because our brains produce dopamine naturally. Dopamine is the happy drug. It's the happy hormone. It's what makes you feel good, right? It makes you feel good naturally. And like when you go for a hike in nature or you exercise and you can feel that rush of endorphins, this is the dopamine in your brain that we all have naturally. Well, when you smoke THC or you ingest it, it floods the brain with dopamine, absolutely just floods it with dopamine. And if you've ever smoked a joint or done an edible and you just feel so good, just feel, oh, life is so good, you laughing, you joking, there's no problems, right? You just feel great. That is because it has flooded your brain, flooded it with dopamine. So what happens is the THC overfloods the brain. It overfloods it to where it's hard to create your own dopamine once you quit. And this is mostly for people who use it on a continual basis, consistent basis. And it's kind of like a rubber band. The more you stretch it, and stretch it, it never goes back to its same position because it's overstretched. And that's kind of how it is with the dopamine in your brain with the THC. It overstimulates it, and the brain stops making its own dopamine. It gets lazy because it's got this outside thing that's coming in. But then when you're not doing it, you start feeling really, really depressed because your brain's not making its own. It's gotten lazy and it has to relearn how to make dopamine. And this is really the same thing with people who do hard drugs. Excuse me, cocaine, heroin, all of those kind of things, same thing. The brain forgets how to make its own dopamine, and it takes sometimes months for addicts to be able to produce their own dopamine again. And I think this is a lot why people have a hard time quitting hard drugs, is because they feel so bad for months and months until the dopamine starts building up in their brains again. So that's what THC does. Another thing that THC does is even though you could take it to sleep at night and it could help you to sleep, it affects the REM sleep patterns, especially towards the later part of the REM, and that's rapid eye movement. So as you're sleeping, you're going through these different phases through the night, and the THC affects that to where the part that it affects is the stage that re-energizes the body. It re-energizes the body. And so you know how bad you feel if you don't sleep for a couple of days. You know, if you toss and turn and you just can't sleep, you're feeling that's depression right there. So the THC can cause all kinds of depression and sleep problems, dopamine problems, if you take it on a consistent basis. Now, a lot of people will take it for pain control, to get off opiates, things like that. And that's fine as long as it doesn't become a crutch, because you're going from one thing to another thing. You're just changing one bad habit for another bad habit. So that's the thing on THC. So I couldn't do THC. It just was, even after 5 days of doing it, and only doing it, in the evenings, I felt this terrible depression. So you may say, well, why didn't you do CBD? Well, the thing is, the CBD has just enough THC in it. All of our products have THC in it. They're all full spectrum. And the CBD has just enough THC in it to do the same thing. I can be on it for a week and then I start feeling depressed. Another thing that the CBD does for me is I can feel it the next day. I feel kind of groggy. So that doesn't work for me either. So here I am making all these great products that people love, and I can't even take it. I can't take the CBD myself. We have had people contact us and say, does CBD cause depression? And I think that in some people, yes, it does cause depression. However, there is another cannabinoid out there, and that's called CBG, which is cannabigerol. CBG it's a lot like CBD. It's non-psychoactive, so it's not going to make you high, but it has a minuscule amount of THC in it. It has just enough THC to create the entourage effect, which is what that means, is that all of the cannabinoids work together synergistically to help heal the body. And so it has just enough in there to work synergistically, but not enough to cause depression in most people who are sensitive to THC. So the CBG is great. I can take the CBG and feel super. I don't feel depressed on that. So that's an alternative. However, the CBG tends to be more stimulating. CBD is more sedating. It's better to take at night. The CBG is more stimulating. It's better to take during the day. And even some people with the CBG, they say it's like having a cup of coffee, because they feel that stimulation. I don't feel that. And it's just, as I said, it's all dependent on the chemistry of the body. Everybody is so different, and it's depending on what medications they could be on. It could interact somewhat with that. The CBG, if you have never heard of CBG, it is basically what the plant produces as it's growing. So as it's immature and it's growing up, it's producing CBG in the stems and the leaves. And then as that plant matures and it buds, the CBG converts to either CBD or THC or a combination of the two, and it disappears. But, and this is how it was maybe 5 years ago, but we've got these amazing scientists and growers and biologists out there in Oregon who basically took the hemp plant and they created a hemp plant that the buds were pure CBG. So now we're seeing CBG flooding the market, and a lot of people like it better than CBD just because it's not as sedating, and it's having miraculous results with autism. It's amazing what it's doing for these kids with autism. It's giving them more focus, less anxiety, they're getting along with their peers at school, and there's less of the self-stimmying where they're doing the repetitive motions. Also, it's helping them verbally. We're seeing that kids that are taking it within just a week are starting to speak better and communicate better. So that's what the CBG is doing. And it's not causing that depression as much. We haven't had anybody, any of our customers ask us or tell us that the CBG is causing them to feel depressed. So let me see if I have anything else that's of huge importance to say. Oh, I did want to say that if you are on antidepressants, to be careful, or if you know of somebody who is on antidepressants and they're wanting to take CBD, they really should talk to their physician first, because CBD does interact with some of the antidepressants out there. In some cases, it makes it stronger, and in some cases, it makes it weaker, the antidepressant. So it's important that you talk to your physician if you want to get off the antidepressants. Especially, do not do that cold turkey, because it's very dangerous. You can get really sick. If you want to get off the antidepressants and take CBD instead, or CBG instead, please talk to your doctor. Now, for people who have problems sleeping, I just want to add this in here, because for me, taking the CBG was a little too stimulating to go to sleep. So I created a half CBD, half CBG blend, and that seems to work great, because the CBD in there helps you to fall asleep, and then you wake up the next morning feeling really focused and energized thanks to the CBG. And we really try to promote this blend, because it's just a wonderful, wonderful product for absolutely anything. Yeah, I think that's about all of the stuff I wanted to say. And also, just a disclaimer on depression. I'm not a doctor, and so therefore I'm not going to give any advice on what you should take for depression or what you shouldn't take. This is just a informational little meeting that we're having, and I can answer your questions as best I can, but I cannot give you medical advice. I can only give suggestions on what I believe might work for you. Okie dokie. So let's hear the questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm taking the CBD oil, the one that I showed you, for anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been on it for a short time. Is that a good choice?
Yes.
Or CBG would be a better choice?
Both of them work really well for anxiety. What you would do is, if you find that are you taking it at night for the most part?
Actually, I use it as a supplement. I'm on, I don't know if you've heard of this, it's called LS. It's a hemp pill. Have you heard of it? I take that like at noon with my meal, and then when I still don't feel right in the afternoon, I take a drop of the CBD oil.
Just one drop?
Well, the full drop.
A dropper. Are you
drop.
finding that you're feeling sleepy about an hour after you take it?
No, I don't. I'm glad you talked about that. I don't know if Ativan is antidepressant. I'm not sure, but I take a very small trace of Ativan for bedtime. That helps me sleep, because, I used to get panic attacks at night,
Mm-hmm.
and now that helps me. But I've asked my doctor, and he said I could even smoke, marijuana if I wanted to, but not too close to when I'm taking that Ativan for sleeping.
Okay.
So I want to get off the Ativan, but I don't know if I'm ready to, instead of taking the Ativan, just take the CBD oil. I don't know if it's gonna I don't know how to do that yet.
Okay, what I would suggest is we have these caramels and they're CBN caramels.
Uh-huh.
And they are really, really good for sleeping at night. We just started carrying these like maybe 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago. We just started carrying these caramels, and I'm amazed at how strong the CBN caramels are.
Is that sugary though? Like you said, sugar.
It is, but it's one, one little caramel. Well, it's quite a nice big size, but you take that an hour before you go to bed, and you can definitely feel really sleepy, and you sleep all night long. So I would suggest you try those, because they're stronger than our tinctures. We have sleep tinctures for nighttime, and the caramels they're kick-ass. They really are.
Yeah. Okay. I have to learn how to get off the Ativan first before I can do the two together.
Yeah. And that you might want to talk to your doctor about, reducing the amount you take, cut it in half, and then slowly titrate off of that. Because I know how you feel. I used to take Ambien to sleep at night, and it became a crutch to where, if I didn't have it, I would panic, because I was like, how am I going to sleep? And really, it's all in the mind, because it's like, okay, so you know what, I'm not going to die if I don't sleep one night.
Right.
But,
but I'm afraid of, I used to get like nightmares. So I'm afraid if I don't take it, horrible nightmares.
Yeah.
But before you, I know I don't want to take up all your time, but like I said, I'm taking this CBD oil. So there is no THC in this, is there?
Yes, there's a little bit of THC in there, but it's like, so if it's considered hemp, right? It has to be less than 0.3% THC in the flower when they grow it in the field, right?
Okay.
And so there's less than 0.3% THC in there. It's such a small amount.
But still people reporting depression, you think? Some people are reporting.
Some people, but as I said, is that some people, and I would say that a very small minority feel depressed from taking CBD, very small minority, but it's just something with the body chemistry that does it. So what I would do is I would just monitor yourself. Just monitor yourself. You said that you've only been taking it for a week or so. See how you feel in a week or a couple of weeks, and just monitor your feelings. If you start feeling depressed, then it's the CBD. Also,
and the other stuff that I'm taking, it says on it no THC, so I'm not to believe that. It's also a hemp product.
Well, if it's a hemp product, it could just be hemp oil. It could be from the seeds. So there's a lot of snake oil out there, let me tell you. So if you go on to like Amazon and you're searching for CBD, you won't find anything that says CBD, but you will find a lot of stuff that says hemp oil. And you may see something that says 30,000 milligrams. Well, that is not CBD. That is oil that comes from the seeds. And the seeds are like a sunflower seed or grape seeds. That's the type of oil. And people are ripping people off by getting hemp oil that they buy at Walmart for $20 for 100 ounces, and they're putting it in these little bottles, putting a label on it, and selling it for $100 a pop. So
this is definitely, it says no THC. It's called Canna LS, and it's, I don't know.
Is it a tincture? Definitely. Is it a tincture?
It's a little capsule. They call it drop. What do they call it?
Oh yeah, like a yeah. Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
It's a little capsule.
So what it is that has no THC in it. So there's different types of extraction processes, and there's the full spectrum alcohol extraction, which is what we use, and it's more time consuming. It takes a lot longer to do, but the end product is way more. It just works better, right? It works better because it's got all of the cannabinoids in there. It's got the chlorophyll is still in there from the plant. All of the terpenes, which are the essential oils, are still in there. The flavonoids are still in there. So that's a full spectrum. It's got everything that came from the plant is still in that extract and into the tincture. Then we have broad spectrum, which is what you have right there with those capsules. Broad spectrum means everything's there, but there's no THC.
Right.
Okay.
That one doesn't, but I just saw on the bottle that it says the trace of THC in there. You said 0.3%, which isn't that much, but it stays in your body, it keeps accumulating then.
Yeah, but it's only if you get drug tested, right? And they test you with something other than just a pee test. If they're doing a blood test, then it's going to show up. But if it's, and this is kind of, we've had people using our products for years, and they said that it never shows up on a drug test. But there's always there's always the one person that may get tested, and it may show up depending on how the test is done. So
because it keeps saying if you take it every day, it's not on 0.3%, then it's the percentage increases.
Well,
correct?
Not necessarily, no, because you are metabolizing it. So it's not just going to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. It's you're metabolizing it. But it does stay in, like CBD, if you take it, it'll stay in, if you take it in the morning, it'll stay in your system for about 8 to 24 hours, depending on your activity level, depending on your body chemistry, and depending on your metabolism. And like
for anxiety, I'm sorry to interrupt you. For anxiety though, it just helps by relaxing me.
Yes, it just calms you down. It just calms you down. So, do you guys know anything about the endocannabinoid system?
Yes, I do. I've read about it.
Okay, so we have this receptor body, the receptors all throughout our body, right? All throughout our body. And there are these receptor sites and this was only found out in the early 90s or the late 80s about this endocannabinoid system. And so what that does is we create our own cannabinoids that create homeostasis in our body. So if we're feeling sick or stressed out, our body will produce these hormones that will flood the different parts of our body to either, to bring us back into homeostasis. And so we have them in our brain and our organs all throughout our bodies. And this is why cannabis is so good for helping with absolutely everything, is because it works with the endocannabinoid system. See the word cannabinoids, plant cannabinoids, and endocannabinoids inside. If our endocannabinoid system is depleted, and that could be from being really sick, it could be from pesticides, herbicides, eating junk food, just, the way our lifestyles are these days, our endocannabinoid systems are depleted. And so by ingesting cannabis, the cannabinoids will attach to those receptor sites and kind of make things right again. So if you're experiencing anxiety for some reason, it's because your endocannabinoid system is not
in homeostasis.
It's not producing enough hormones to create, balance. And so that little bit of cannabis is going to come in there, and it's not that much that you're taking, and it's going to level things out for you and create more balance, more homeostasis in your body.
Now, have you heard of lowering your blood pressure?
Yep, it lowers blood. I mean, it does that. It lowers blood pressure, and you have to take it on a consistent basis. You can't take it once a week and expect results, because it's accumulative. So as you said, it does accumulate in the body, right? And it'll stay in the body. It stays in the body for a while, and you are metabolizing it. But the more, you take it on a consistent basis, you're going to see more and more things
Results.
becoming better in your life. And
well, see, I already have a low blood pressure. I'm the opposite. So I don't want it to decrease. So I have to watch that too.
okay, well, you know what? It's not going to affect things that it doesn't need to affect. It only affects things that are broken.
Okay.
Yeah. And the great thing is that it's not like you get a headache and you take an Advil and you're fine for 8 hours and then your headache comes back or your pain comes back. What we're seeing with cannabis, with CBD especially, is that it tends to fix things. So I had a woman who, she said her whole life she had chronic constipation, and she was on all kinds of pills and drinks and things like this, that she started taking the CBD, and within a few weeks, it kind of fixed her. She didn't have to take these pills. It fixed whatever was not working in her system. So we're seeing this as well with animals. Like, for instance, I had a dog that every time we got in the car, she would get sick, right? It was like, okay, I just didn't even want to take her anywhere, because as soon as we drove for 5 minutes, she'd be just drooling and foaming at the mouth, and just like, then she would end up puking all over the car. And I started giving her CBD an hour before we go on a trip, whether it was to the vet or, just around town. I was trying to kind of I was hoping that she'd get used to being in the car, and eventually this illness would go away. And it was there for a long time. And I started giving her the CBD, and within 3 times of giving her the CBD, the car sickness went away. It absolutely went away, and I've never had to give it to her since. So we're seeing that it is fixing things that may be broken in the body.
So this is what I was telling you about. This
Okay,
LS.
down. I concentrated. Wait. Up. Go back a bit. There. Stop. Up. Say something.
Can you see it?
There we go. High potency. Yeah. So yeah, and I'm sure those are great. What is the strength?
10 milligrams of hemp oil.
For one?
For one. And they're like this. They're like little pearls.
Yeah. I've seen those. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't say THC, because I don't want to double use that with THC and then this, but it doesn't say THC. So I take one of these every day, and then I take the CBD oil later on. Okay, and that, it doesn't say anything about CBD on there either. It doesn't. No, so it could just be hemp oil. This did though. I hadn't seen it before, but it did say they're 0.3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those capsules that you have, they may not have any CBD in them. Because it doesn't say right on the bottom. Are you familiar with this company at all, the Green Gardener? No. Mm-mm. Okay. No. Okay. Great, Bob. Do you? But that's very nice of you. Okay. No, I was just saying. What were you saying, Mina? That's very nice of you to bring up the possible depression, so people are more careful and check themselves. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. And if you find that you are feeling depressed or even sleepy, if that CBD is making you sleepy, take it an hour before you go to bed. It's not going to affect the Ativan. It's not? No. You don't think so? No. I take it like in the evening, afternoon. So like it's 4 or 5 hours away from the Ativan, but you don't think it affects it?
No, but if you're not feeling tired, like really
Yeah.
tired after you take an hour after you take the CBD, then you're fine. Then, you know, it's not affecting you, because some people are sensitive and it'll make them really sleepy.
It just relaxes me a little. I'm basically taking it for anxiety. If I feel more anxious in the afternoon because maybe the Canna Ellis is wearing out, then I'll just take a dropper of the CBD oil. But are you suggesting to stay with that or go with a mix like you did, CBD and then CBG?
You can try the blend next time and see if you like it.
Okay.
You may like it better. It's really trial and error, right? If something's not working, you have to try something else. Don't give up, because a lot of people have tried CBD products in the past. They've bought it at the grocery store, and I'm not talking Flower Child, I'm talking about just in general. They buy it at the grocery store, they're buying it at the pharmacy, and then it's not doing anything for them.
No.
And that is the way it's being extracted, right? There's a lot of different extraction techniques out there. For instance, like an isolate. An isolate is where they've taken everything out and all that's left is the CBD. That's it. And it's like a white powder. It almost looks like icing sugar, that it's just, and it doesn't have all the other cannabinoids in it. So if you're taking that, you're having to take 3 times as much to get the same effects.
Well, you were suggested to me by someone who's been using you for a very long time and has done a lot of research, and his whole family here in town uses it. So I wouldn't just go to online and order something. I'm too scared to do that. And also the Canna Ellis, they use that too. So for his wife has been using it for 2 years and it works on her. So I've taken their suggestion and I'm happy with it, Flower Child. But do you have any specials going on right now? Because sometimes you do, don't you?
We do. Right now, if you spend $100, you get a free blend 700. And if you spend $150, you get a free blend 1400.
Of the blend that you want me to try?
Yep.
It's
a very good deal.
So do you want me to try the 1400 or 700?
You can either one, because basically if you get the 1400, you take less of it.
Oh, okay.
And you might save yourself $5 by taking the stronger. And the reason we have that is because some people just don't, they might be taking a quarter of a dropper or a half a dropper full, and they don't want to keep buying every 2 weeks. So they get the higher one, they take less of it, and it lasts longer.
Oh, got you. Okay. But you don't have auto shipping, do you? Like, you sign up, you do auto ship. I didn't see it on your site.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that because of the cannabis business. I should look into doing that, because I know it was something that couldn't be done in the past just because it was cannabis related. But they may have changed that on our credit card processor now. I'll check that out.
I think that it's okay because the other product, I'm on auto shipping, so you might be able to do that too.
Okay.
It's convenient because you don't have to keep, going online and ordering.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll look into that. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Great.
Is your CBN only in the caramels at this point, the CBN?
Yes. Is that something, Bob, that you would be interested in if we made a tincture?
Potentially. I'm going to try the caramels and see what I think. I have found I really like the CBG because I like the gentle energy I get from it. I don't get like a spike energy like from coffee or tea or whatever. I kind of notice it when I'm not even thinking about it. I don't know. It's just for some reason I go, oh, huh. I just like it. But I realized that I can't do anything with CBG much past about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Otherwise it's not like trouble getting to sleep necessarily. It's just different sleep, I guess. So that's why I want to try the CBN. What are your thoughts on the Delta 8 situation, or Delta 8 THC?
I wouldn't go with it because I've heard a lot of bad things about how it's being extracted, how they're a lot of they're like, you know, if you wanted to try it, I would definitely look into how it was extracted, because they're using all kinds of very bad solvents to extract it and to create this product, because it's not natural.
They're spraying it on, or dipping or spraying or whatever onto CBD, right? Onto CBD flower. Like if you buy some Delta 8 flower, isn't it just CBD flower that's been enhanced or whatever they call it with the Delta 8? Like
I don't
spray
know.
or something?
I really don't know. I just, you know, I'm not into that because I think it's going to eventually get made illegal.
Mhm.
But
It's in some states it already is illegal,
yeah,
like 6 or 8 or so states. So I just wonder what you thought of it. But I definitely do love the CBG. And I found out that it kind of works better for me if I mix it, because I basically just use a little one-hit pipe kind of thing. I don't do a lot of the other stuff. But if I mix it kind of half and half with CBG and CBD flower, it seems to be better.
mm-hmm.
If I do straight CBG, it's a little too much, I think.
Yeah.
That may just been a day I had too much tea. I don't know, because I don't drink coffee anymore, but I do have like a cup of tea in the morning and then maybe one in the afternoon. But I really
So
love
does
the
it help you
CBG.
with anxiety?
It must, because I don't really have a lot of anxiety.
Oh, you lucky you.
Yeah.
I try not to let shit bother me, you know. I see what's going on and I try to like, okay, what's going on here, and can I do anything about this or not? And if I can, it's like, next.
You're
Yeah.
lucky. You're
Yeah.
lucky.
I got 4 kids. I can't be concentrating too much on one thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's good to have things that can distract you from, you know, getting in your head thinking about all the disasters and all the bad stuff that could happen.
That's all I do. That's my problem. That's all I do.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. No, it's not worth it, you know. I mean, it's not worth it. We're here on this planet to be happy and to be joyful. And we're all going to die in the end, so we might as well enjoy the journey. We might as well enjoy ourselves. Not worry about it, because when you worry, you just create more, you know, what you focus on, you attract.
Yeah.
What
Creates the key word there. We create a lot of our own situations.
Yep.
Just by what we're thinking about, or actually what we might even be about what we believe that could be totally off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Limiting
This is a book I'm reading. It's really helpful with it. You know, it talks about everything that you guys are saying.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know what? You might want to Google Abraham Hicks. Abraham Hicks, and listen to what Esther has to say, because it's all about creating your reality. And it's
is it HICKS?
Yeah.
HICKS. How do you stop it though? You know you do it, but the thing is,
you know what? It's very, you have to be aware that you're doing it at the time. And when you're thinking negative thoughts, you have to change them to something positive, because what you're thinking about, you're going to create in your life, especially if there's emotion that's in the mix. And, you know, like when we're thinking about, oh, this, you know, this guy, you know, he did this to me, or he did that to me, or she said this to me, and we start reliving that moment, and we can feel those emotions come up, all those negative emotions.
Right.
That you don't want that, because that's going to create more negativity in your life. So as soon as you feel that coming up, you just say change, and you think of something happier, think of something more joyful, because we create by the thoughts and the feelings that and it's the emotion that brings it to reality very quickly.
That and worrying about something that might happen.
Yeah. So what they say is, when you worry, that's praying for what you don't want.
Yeah. That's a good
God.
one. It's a good one.
Oh my God.
It's true.
Worrying is praying.
That's why
for what you don't want.
Let me write that down.
Is such a
Tell
big deal.
myself. Praying for something you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shoot. Mine started with this COVID, I think, my anxiety, like many people, worrying.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Fear is a powerful thing. Very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it destroys you, gives you panic attacks.
Okay, guys.
That's why it's, you got to try to keep your own power. You got to keep your, you know, that's the mindfulness thing people are talking about, where you have to stop and say, okay, what's going on here? Why am I thinking this way? That kind of thing, you know, just kind of take a few breaths and regroup.
Yeah.
But it
Not
happens
easy.
in my sleep. Like I have nightmares of, you know, horrible nightmares. You know, mine has gotten over. I mean, I've gotten better, but it started that way. Like, you know, nightmares, bad nightmares. Like I had no control to change my situation or go outside or go for a jog or something like that when it happens in your sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing too is, like, you know, if you go to sleep thinking about something, that's what you usually dream about.
True.
Like if you watch TV and then you go to bed, then you usually, dreaming about the movie you watched or something like that. So a good thing to do is maybe do 15 to 20 minutes of meditation, even a guided meditation where you're listening to somebody's voice in your head. And I have guided meditations. There's a free one on my website that you can download and listen to. And it's all about creating a successful life, getting rid of fears, loving yourself more, stuff like that. And that could be something that you listen to before you go to bed every night with headphones to put your subconscious mind into thinking about creating something different.
Or it's on your website then?
Yes, if you go to the website and look under meditations, there's some meditations there that you can buy, and I think they're on sale right now for half price. And there's a free one. Listen to download the free one.
Okay.
Listen to that because it's really good. It's really, really good. I'm a hypnotherapist as well as the pot queen. And I really enjoy talking to people about the power that they have within themselves to create a new reality, because it's all in your mind. It's all between your ears. That's the thoughts that you're thinking, the anxiety that you're feeling is coming from the thoughts, and you got to change the thoughts. And the way to do that is by doing meditation, listening to guided meditations, watching positive things, like Abraham Hicks. Listen to her. She channels. And if you're into that, she's channeling a consciousness from the other side. That's basically telling us how to navigate this planet.
You know what? It's really good to hear that, someone like you has to do the meditation too, even though you're educated in this field.
I meditate every single morning. And that is because when you're in that quiet time, that is when you're connected to your source being God or higher being or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. It's flowing through you. Yeah. And it's flowing all around you. And when you meditate, you get used to meditating, you'll feel that expansion happening in your body, and it feels like energy. It feels like you can't feel your toes, you can't feel your body, you're just kind of sitting there. And that's when you're connected to your source. And those are good feelings. And you want to have those good feelings to create more goodness in your life, to create more peace.
It's like floating somewhere.
Yeah, it's like floating. And that's when you see these yogis that are in meditation and you see pictures of them levitating, right? Yeah. That's how you feel when you're connected to your source. You feel like you're just floating, that your body is weightless. And
it comes with practice.
And you're thinking, wow, I can't feel my feet. I feel like my head's to the side, but it's not. You just, it's really, it's wonderful.
It takes a long time before you can get there, because I do meditate, but I have never gotten there, like floating, not yet. right? You have to practice and
Yeah,
practice.
and I think it's something that you just have to do, and eventually it'll happen. Eventually it'll happen.
Okay.
There's of course different types of meditation, but a lot, what I found is your physiology, like whether you're hungry, whether you're anxious, whether you're, you know, the stuff that's going on in your system, your body, like whether you just had a big meal or something like that, that can affect your meditation. So it's usually better to meditate on more of an empty stomach rather than a full stomach, so your body's not going through all this stuff. But there's different types of meditation. Personally, I do transcendental meditation twice a day, and it's amazing.
So Bob, tell us, what is that for inquiring minds? How do you do that?
Well, it's basically I'm using a mantra. I tried the other kind of meditation where you kind of try to concentrate on something, but I don't know if I never have been actually diagnosed with ADD, but I feel like I have like a monkey mind half the time, not half the time, but a lot of the time. My mind's always just going. So when I meditate and using the concentration type meditation, I would lose it because I try to concentrate and I just, you know, split off. But with transcendental, you actually go through this ceremony or whatever, and you get this mantra from your teacher, because you have to set up with a teacher and all that. But anyway, once you get the mantra, basically it's like you're able to think about the word, and you're more concentrating on the mantra, and it helps me focus better. And it's only for 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes each time. And I'm not into any kind of like a religious aspect of TM. I'm not getting into the necessarily leaning towards the Hindu necessarily, but because it's not my culture necessarily, but I can learn more about it. But I'm not into that part of it. I definitely know though that he said that the Maharishi has said that every time you meditate, it's like dipping a cloth into dye, that the more you dip cloth into dye, the deeper the dye gets, the deeper the color gets. So every time I meditate, it's just adding to, even if I don't feel like it's a really good time that time, because some meditation sessions are better than others. And also the morning meditation is so much different than the evening meditation, because in the evening I had all that crap going on during the day that is going on in my head that is not going on in the morning. So my morning meditations are like a dream you don't want to wake up from, you know. And I'm like, wow.
So where do you find these classes? You have to join a class before you get the mantra and all that?
No,
there's different ones out there. Transcendental meditation, I actually paid a guy $500 to do the class and all this, and it's like a 3 or 4 day class and all this, and you do different things. But there's other ones out there that you don't have to pay $500 for. But the mantra helps me concentrate, helps me stay focused. And it's kind of like they also mentioned that basically our life is like the surface of the ocean, of a water, where it's very rough and churny by the wind and blown around by all the crap going on. And in my mind, it's been where, as I'm meditating, it's like if you found an archaeological find under the ocean or under the water, you have your boat that's up top, and then you have a line that you run down to that site, so the divers can follow that line down to the site they found, whatever they're excavating, whatever they are. Well, as I'm doing my meditation, it feels like I'm going deeper and deeper and deeper, using that mantra like as a guideline down to that source. I can do a better explanation probably, but that's really rough. But
yeah,
definitely.
That sounds pretty good, because what I got was when you were saying that, you know, you're on the surface of the water, it's windy, it's rough, and then I feel like as soon as you go under the water, everything's quiet, right? It's quiet and calm and still, and that's where you kind of want to be. And that's a great analogy. I love that. I'm going to use that one. Yeah, and Nina,
and there's times where I've done my meditation, and when you don't want to jump up from meditation, when you're done with your meditation, you want to like take a few breaths and regroup, because there have been times where I jumped up, like something happened, like a phone went off or something needed something, whatever, and I got up quickly and I kind of left myself in the chair. It was bizarre. very bizarre. It's only happened
Wow.
once or twice, but it's just, they tell you, you need to just kind of situate where you are again, kind of take a few breaths, look around, whatever. Don't just jump up and take off.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly.
It was a little scary, but it was wild. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa. But I was looking at myself from outside the room or something. It was
Wow.
bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
whatever.
and Mina, as far as a mantra, you can say whatever you want. When you're doing your meditation and you're trying to do it by yourself without somebody's voice, you can put on some quiet music, listen to some nice meditative music. There's all kinds of apps that you can put on your phone
Oh yeah.
that have meditation music. One that I use is called Inside Timer.
Okay.
And they've got all kinds of free stuff, and it's really good. And they've got absolutely everything from 5 minutes to an hour of meditations. And then the mantra, you can say whatever you want. I am happy, I am whole, I am healthy, I'm
Peace,
wealthy.
whatever.
Yeah.
But then see, the problem with me is that I am like a hyperactive person. Like if you tell me to go run around the block, no problem, I'll do it. But in order to get into my own head and relax, I cannot do.
And
So I need
that's,
to-
and that everybody has that problem. And like for me, I do it first thing in the morning. I get out of bed, I get a cup of tea, I have my cup of tea just to kind of wake up. Otherwise, if I did meditation straight away, I'd fall back asleep. So I have my cup of tea, and then I put my headphones on and I do a guided meditation. I listen to a guided meditation. And then when that stops, I kind of just stay in that zone for, I'd say, 10 minutes and just start visualizing what I want to create in my life. You know, visualizing it and then putting emotion into it. So as you're visualizing whatever you want, whether it's a trip, feel yourself already on the trip. Feel yourself sitting on the airplane going to that destination. See yourself getting, checks in the mail if that's what you want.
it's working for you. Look where you are, head of your company. So
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yep.
Do you ever listen to Deepak Chopra?
I did not get into Deepak. I listened a lot
Deepak.
to Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
I liked Wayne Dyer. Deepak, I just couldn't.
Oh
get
yeah,
into
Wayne
him.
Dyer.
Yeah, Wayne Dyer was the guy that I started with. He's just amazing. But yeah, no, Deepak's got a great message, but it wasn't resonating with me. Didn't resonate with me. And some people, some people resonate with you and some people don't. If they don't resonate with you, there's thousands of them out there. Pick somebody else,
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Well, this has been a great conversation about metaphysics. Yeah, in fact, it's like this really gets me going, talking about meditation and creating your reality and future and things like that. That's a fun one. We'll have to do another Zoom meeting where we can maybe learn a little bit more about creating reality and meditation.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to meet you, so I know who I'm buying from, like
Yeah. Thank you.
it's not just online, it's a person behind it.
Yeah. Connection. Yeah.
Connection.
Well, great.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to do this once a month, and this is the first of many. I was doing it in the past, and then of course we moved here, and so that didn't happen. But yeah, for the next one next month, please, if you have any friends that you think might be interested in joining us, let them know.
Okay.
We will. I will.
Great.
Me too. Yep.
Well, you guys have a super Sunday.
You too. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kelly.
And we'll see you next month, hopefully.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Both.
You guys. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.